Father Guna kind of gave me a challenging task, and then he invites me to come and to preach at the Mass today when we're trying to celebrate so many different things. So I'll try to keep it to a half hour on all three topics, okay, so we'll see how it goes. The first is, as the server said, Happy Fatima Day. Exactly 100 years ago today, in a little village in Portugal, of which some of our people here, it's their hometown, these three young children had this vision of a woman in white. And the image is best shown by the statues that we have there. She didn't appear to the priest or the bishop. She didn't appear to the nobility in that area. It was to simple peasant children. And I think, again, it just reminds us of God's gentle, humble care for each of us. That she would show that grace to little ones. Again, that symbol of her being a mother to us all. I remember one of the main messages out of Fatima is about praying the rosary. And I remember a spiritual speaker saying, this is not a necklace. This is not just something you keep in your pocket. This is a spiritual weapon. When life gets rough, when the waves are crashing around us, this will lead us through so much storm. And I've experienced that in my own life. And so that part of this day of Fatima is kind of a commitment to us as Catholics to renew the ways that we are praying the rosary. And that as families, as people, from our hearts, that the rosary does be part of our daily life. The second thing is looking at is the gospel today. And we have those words that I think are really important for us to reflect on in this time in Canadian culture. Jesus says, do not let your hearts be troubled. I'm going to prepare a place for you, and I will come again and will take you to myself. I used this gospel many times when I was chaplain at the hospital. And I remember one time I was going in to visit a fellow named Gus. And the nurse, I said, how's Gus doing today? And she says, don't tell him, Father, but he's full of cancer. But he doesn't know yet. So I went into the room, I said, Gus, how are you today? And he looks at me and he says, Father, I think I'm full of cancer. He knew it. He had the sense that time was short. So Gus, about a week later, went into a coma. And he was in intensive care, and so I went in to visit him, and we had talked about this passage of the gospel before, and I said, Gus, you know, you were almost shaking hands with St. Peter. And he smiled at me and said, I guess Jesus is still wallpapering my room up there. And just that faith that Jesus prepares a place for us up there, for every one of us. But then he will come at the right time to bring us back. He promises us here that he will return to take us home. Now, where this becomes particularly important today is the question of physician-assisted dying or suicide. And how euthanasia has become legal, which is shocking. In our visit with Pope Francis and the cardinals a couple months ago in Rome, they were all dismayed that Canada has moved so quick into accepting euthanasia. And I think as Catholic Christians in our society, we need to again have that faith and courage to walk a different way than much of our society is going. As Catholic teaching, if someone is critically ill, when there is no quality of life, we can remove all artificial means of keeping someone alive. We can use painkillers and things necessary to keep a person relatively comfortable, even though that might be some death. But we do not take the step of saying, give me that shot. Finish me off. That is not faith that Jesus is coming for us at the right time. We need to have that ability, trust, patience, courage. God so often works in suffering. Would that it were an easier way, but he chooses to work in suffering. I remember one of the most influential stories for me when I was a little child. Somebody bought us a book of kind of Christian stories. And there was a little boy that was dying of leukemia. And his friend came to see him in the hospital. And he said to his friend, you know, I'm kind of scared to die. I'm so worried about what will happen. And so his friend, who was a good Christian, said, well, you know, don't be scared. Just hold up your hand, and when Jesus comes, he'll see that you're reaching for him, and he'll take you safely home. So he told them the story. So the boy was getting sicker. And so in that night time, he was trying to keep his hand up in the air for Jesus to come. But his hand kept getting tired and tired, and he was worried about it. The next morning, when the nurse came in, the boy had died through the night. And he'd taken his pillows and propped them around his arm so that it would be sitting up. That faith that when it's the right time, Jesus will come and get us. But he's the boss. We trust that he will come when it's the right time. So we pray for that faith today again. The second reading, I think, is really important for our 50th anniversary of the parish of St. Lawrence. It's a great description of what a parish is meant to be. Like living stones, let yourselves be built into a spiritual home. That's what our church is to be, God's family. Every one of us makes our church fuller, makes it more active of the Spirit. Every one of us brings spiritual gifts. And to be aware of that, attune of that. When you don't make it to come and pray together, we're poor. We're missing some of the fullness that we could have. And so you're coming to pray together. Again, it's not just for ourselves, that we all need the help, but it's a prayer for each other, lifting each other up. I just think in the 50 years, how many baptisms have been in here? How many children have begun their walk of faith with the parents asking for God's help to be good fathers and mothers? How many weddings have been celebrated here? A man and a woman praying for God's help to create a good, holy family, with its ups and downs of every family. How many funerals have been celebrated here? When we go to say goodbye to our person, our loved ones, time here, and pray for the grace to let them go. All those sacraments, all the Christmas Eves, all the Easters, powerful spiritual stones coming together to lift and encourage each other. I think one of the such important parts of parish life is it's kind of like a couple. I think God tries to make sure that one of the couple is up when the other one is down, and it might take the other turn at times. That we're here to lift up some of our people today who are feeling really low. And our faith and prayer can lift them up. Other Sundays will come and we're feeling very low. And we'll need the faith and support of those around us. May that blessing of 50 years be celebrated well today, and that we carry it on for many years to come in St. Lawrence Parish the spiritual stories that are here. So grateful to celebrate all these things. May the Lord fill our hearts with faith, with thankfulness, and with his presence of love.